your files. So if once the Zoom processes on your computer, I use the computer. I don't use, I could use my iPad or whatever, but I don't use it because I don't want it to go to the cloud because it just is too much stuff. So if you save it
Right,
to
right,
the
right.
computer, and once it's processed and it's on the computer, you move it to pictures.
Okay.
I'll write it down for you because if you're like me, I'm kind of visual while I'm figuring it out, but I'll write it down for
Yeah,
you.
hands-on. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and so you move it to
But
pictures.
once I have a gist, I should be able to figure it out. I didn't know where to go to
Right.
try to edit it.
I had to search. Like I had to Google and search to figure out. I was like, now how am I going to edit this thing? And then it's not hard once you figure it out. But we'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that. So thank you so much, so much,
Okay.
so much. This is really, for us
Thank
to
you.
have been this close, we were so close when we were in Florida, and
I know.
that darn COVID, man, messing up everything.
Oh, it's a little draining. It's very draining. I
It's
can't lie. It's very draining.
I know.
Um, but everything happens, I believe, in divine timing.
That's true.
And here we are.
And here we are, definitely. So I thought a good way for us to start would be for you to introduce yourself to folks who will be watching. Um, and then, oh, and how we connected. I know how we how we connected,
Yeah,
how long it's been. Yeah, I'm gonna get there sooner or later.
I pray so. We do. My daughter and I spoke about that earlier. She was like, Mommy, like, when is she coming? I said, girl, she done moved to Spain now. I don't know.
I'm coming. But go ahead, introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Dr. Kim D. Harris, and I am an educator. I'm an artist, and I am an I amness
And I.
person within myself.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah. And I live in Jamaica. I am back and forth between Florida, really any other places where I can go, like to get a gig.
Hmm.
I travel there. But for the most part, I'm in between Jamaica and Florida. Jamaica is where I live, and that's where I'm talking to you from my home in Jamaica.
I know. And where in Jamaica do you live? Tell people a little bit about your um you do a lot of stuff. So you're above a house and all that stuff.
Okay, well, my daughter and myself, we moved here 7 years ago, roughly, and we came actually to start a Library of Hope. And this library was focusing on literature, artwork, all creative things written by Black people for Black people.
Hmm.
Because the library here is really scanty, and they're Jamaicans that love to read. So I thought that would be a good entry in connecting with locals on the island. But once I got here, it's a whole drama story about everything you hear about when you move to a foreign country. Yes, it happened. And we
Yeah.
realized that the library really isn't feasible because um, people wouldn't bring my books back. We tested it out,
Oh.
and was beginning to lose books. And I don't mind, but
Right.
I needed to have my supplies, my resources, so that I could then be the library.
Yes.
So I have now switched. We've evolved from that, and I now am the creative view, the artistic director of the creative view. And basically, what I do is train emerging artists to be teaching artists. And a part of their training is they will pre COVID, they would come to Jamaica. We've had 2 sessions. They
All
would come to
right.
Jamaica, and I would line it up with a school in the area or at the library where they would come in and facilitate a 1 hour project connecting to the children based off of the Black experience. We talked about during our training certain universal concepts, certain universal experiences, even though we may be in different places, but throughout the diaspora, there's similarities amongst us. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you eat fried plantain? I love fried
Yeah.
plantain, and so on. And just certain idiosyncrasies that we just do ancestrally and spiritually.
Yes,
So
true.
that is what the focus is, what that is. And so now I'm pushing the creative view and the program. I also host another program as an extra limb of the creative view called Black Creators on the Rise, where I focus on Black artists of all genres. And I basically interview them. They usually will share a work in progress
Mhm.
or a finished piece and sort of just share with the viewers a sentiment of how this piece evolved. I asked them off the wall questions, like my last guest. I guess I didn't think it was off the wall. His response, his expression, like he didn't anticipate. But I wanted to know, can he dance? And does he eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? I like to throw in those type of questions with the art related questions, just sort of break the ice because
Yes.
you know what I'm saying. And so I'm really excited about those two ventures, and just basically taking the creative view face to face, putting it on an online platform.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at right now. As a result of COVID,
Mhm.
everybody's leery, which is very understandable.
Right.
But I still want to do what I do.
Yep.
So we're going to just move forward. So I'm taking everything that was face to face. I think I'm in the third module of creating an online course of what I call Educator. And
Uh-oh. We froze. I think you'll come back. I hope. uh, so we froze here, and I'm hoping we sort of our connection comes back. And if it doesn't, we will reboot and start again. Let's see. I guess I can't text her because, oh no. Let's see. Uh, uh-oh. Okay, so I'm gonna pause. Oh, it's the way things are. You got to deal with, the way technology is.
oh,
And we have to be at least, okay, Florida is about 6,000. Wait. Yeah, Florida's about 6,000. So, yeah, you're pretty far.
yeah, well, I'm in Jamaica, so
I know, right?
you know.
And it's in the
So
morning
now
for
I'm
you.
back on the lap.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
back on a
yes, it is.
laptop.
It
Oh, okay.
is 10:22. I'm on the laptop now.
Okay.
My daughter rebooted it and huh.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Okay. So we
thank
were.
you for having me.
You are so welcome. I'm really pleased. Um, we met. I'm trying to think now how long ago it was because it was
It's
well
at
one
least 7 years,
at least. Oh my
maybe going on 7 because we had just moved to Jamaica. I
and
don't
you
think it had been a full year yet.
Whoa. And we met.
And you were one of the winners.
I was a winner.
I forgot the challenge that we had, but
It was yeah.
I
Oh,
can't even remember. It's been so long.
oh, it's terrible. And that's how long I was a winner, and the winnings was to come to Jamaica.
Yeah.
And I have yet to get there because I know I'm going to look for what it was because I still have the email. I kept the email, right?
Okay.
And I was one of three winners, right? And was
That's
we were
right.
we
That's
were
right.
trying to coordinate the three of us coming. Um, Michelle was one who was in New York who now lives in Florida.
Oh,
And yeah, she
it was a
sent,
young man, Brownstone. I don't know his first name, Akeem maybe, but
uh,
Steven.
Stephen. Right.
Yeah.
And then there was Jessica, right?
Yes, that's
And
right. That's right. She does the sound bowls
yeah,
now.
yeah. So we were the three of us were at least trying to like coordinate it, couldn't get it together. And then I actually had the flight, remember, and then there was the hurricane in Florida. And I didn't go.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much elements that's outside of our control, you know, lining it up for divine timing. That's I
Yes.
always have to lean back to that.
Absolutely. So it's gonna happen because COVID gonna get out of here. I'm hoping soon. I am definitely
You
hoping
and me
soon.
both.
But I actually think it was related to Kemetic Yoga. And
Yes.
a lot of people are unfamiliar with what that is. So why don't you tell people what that is and a little bit about how you got started in yoga in general and Kemetic
Okay.
Yoga in specifically.
All right. I'll try not to get long-winded.
It's okay. We
You
have
know,
plenty of
as an
time.
educator, I work with students, and
Don't I
it's
know?
so, but my students are like young, so to have an opportunity to have an adult conversation, I get like, oh,
Yay.
but okay. Basically, I got into yoga as a healing modality for myself when I was growing through breast cancer
Mm,
about 13 and a half years ago, actually. And in Florida, when I lived there, the community is how we describe it. It's just a group, a collective of conscious Black individuals that are, prescribing to holistic
mhm,
living.
mhm.
And Brother Ankh would give every Sunday on the beach, Sunday
Oh,
morning yoga on the beach. And my oncologist encouraged me to find an outlet. She gave me a list of some support groups, which I did jump on Gilda's Club. But I also said I would want to connect with the community. And I started going to the yoga classes on Sunday. Mind you, I'm going through chemo, I've got
yeah.
bald head, I have that cancer look. And everyone was very welcoming.
Mhm.
And I realized, I can't tell you, Sharon, but I am going to tell you. I was close to I would bounce between 187 and 189. My son said, Mommy, when you walk, it's like your butt cheeks are fighting with each other. And I was heavy.
Yeah.
And I think it was from the steroids and the
Sure. The
chemotherapy. There's
chemo.
a barrage of things, my body taking it in. But a part of that program, uh, they shared different ways of eating more healthy. And I started prescribing to that. My green juice in the morning, based off of my body weight and other features, how much water I personally should consume per day,
Mhm.
taking in the mindset of being a Kemetic yogi, so to
Mhm.
say. And I realized I started losing weight and I really started getting into it. And that would turn to be an community outlet for me, dealing with chemo, radiation, just the whole healing process. Uh, I signed up. I wanted to get certified. I wanted to be associated with that as a part of my personal healing modality and something that I could share with other breast cancer patients or
Mhm.
anyone for that fact. And
Right.
basically, the whole philosophy for me, my perception of it, is connecting to the character traits that each of the god and goddesses of ancient Kemet walked with.
Mhm.
For example, Ma'at, she stands for righteousness, balance, truth, honor, positive, good karma, divine order, synchronicity, equilibrium, all things of that nature. And for me at that time, even though we studied about other gods and goddesses of ancient Kemet and their characteristics and how the hieroglyphics, certain poses that we saw through the videos that they would share in class and the lectures, we were doing it. And I started feeling a spiritual connection to that, as far as, wow, look at this. This is, I've never had an opportunity to go to Egypt or Kemet, because I heard that to actually go and to like be able to see what we do that's so ancient
Yeah.
is just like very empowering as a yogi. So to make a long story short, I never stopped practicing. There were some phases in my life, I will be honest, that I didn't practice as hard. Sort of maybe slightly falling off the wagon, but it's always a come home to yourself thing. Like over the years now that I've adapted, like, oh, I need to recheck in. So, which is basically where I'm at right now again, because of COVID and other things happening in my life. But I am incorporating or reacquainting myself with the character traits of the ancient gods and goddesses of Kemet, and wearing it like a badge, wearing it like a helmet, and weaving it into my life, because it's a thing that also embraces the laws, the 42 laws of Ma'at, which technically there's more than that, but that's what is being promoted, the 42 laws of Ma'at. And it's very challenging because, no fault of mine or my mom's, but I was brought up in an environment where they cuss, which
Yeah.
is one of the 42 laws of, being impeccable with your speech. So it's certain little things of really a deeper type of self-care that I am walking that journey again, and sometimes I want to pose, but I don't know about you, Sharon. Sometimes I can't keep up to post every little something throughout my day to create content. It's such
It is time
a me,
consuming.
myself, and I
Yes, I
type of
understand.
initiative, that it's like, okay, let me, like, on now, set up the camera, uh, but after a while, I'm going to get everything organized and adapting to the new norm of conducting business, of interacting with each other. And, you know, it's just a new norm of how things is. And I'm an analog girl.
Yes, I hear.
So that's just how it goes sometimes. So yeah, I hope I didn't get
No,
long-winded
you're
in
not. No, not
sharing.
at all. I'm just fascinated by it because I don't know that much. And although I do remember that the training was focused at Kemetic Yoga, I have often said I would like to delve into it more because I'm not familiar. Um,
Okay.
I c- and I intend on doing that. I mean, we all know that yoga, first of all, is not only asana. Anyhow, like you said, there are the 42 laws, and excuse me, when we look at what people think is traditional yoga, for lack of a better way of putting it, we
Right.
have the eight limbs. But I do believe, to me, it's very much like, and I'm not saying that I'm equating yoga to religion, but it's very much like religion. For some people, being a piece of organized religion is what floats their boat, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
For other people, it could be walking on the beach and being in nature. For
Yes.
someone else, the whole idea of, if someone subscribes to the Bible and laying on hands might be that I provide Reiki, which is what I do. I, you know,
That's right.
uh,
That's right.
so it's much broader. I'm just a firm believer that there is no one route to get to where people need to be spiritually connected.
I
It just
agree.
it's
It's impossible to have that.
it doesn't exist. And I don't really care. I could lose followers, I could care less. But I'm just saying, for those who profess that there is only one way, that's a problem to me. That's a problem.
Yeah.
um
There's been a little bit of controversy with that amongst the Kemetic yoga and just sharing. You have Kemetic yoga, and how I profess mine on my on my social media platforms is that I practice yoga from Kemet and
yes,
not so much Kemetic yoga,
gotcha,
because you
that's
have
helpful.
Kemetic yoga, you have, these are three different systems: Kemetic yoga, Egyptian yoga, and you
Yes.
have African yoga. Kemetic yoga is basically coined by Yasir, who really stands firm with, people adhering to
Yeah.
that flow of Kemetic yoga. Then you have
Oh.
Egyptian yoga, which is more so, I was trained by Ankh, and he was trained by Dr. Muada Ashby, who has several books written
Yes.
about Egyptian yoga.
Yeah.
And then you have Pablo Imani, who has African yoga. There are certain concepts from my base of reference where things overlap.
Yeah.
And for me, because I'm certified in two systems of yoga from Kemet. I'm
Mm-hmm.
certified in the Tef Neteru Sema Pout system, as well as Yoga Skills Method, which is Yasir. And when I got certified with Yoga Skills Method, my daughter also got certified with me. We traveled to Jamaica. We weren't living here then. And we
Mm-hmm.
traveled to Jamaica, spent 10 intense days in the heat.
Oh,
Okay.
summertime.
Um, Summertime. I think it was like in June or
Oh my
July.
gosh. Yeah, because I've been there in the summer.
And it was it was a lot, but we did it. And even though it was moments, my daughter was like, "Mommy, I'll just have to give you your money back because I'm not, I'm done." But she, kept coming back on board. But during that time, that training is when I first realized that there's slight differences, and I had to
Ah.
stress to my daughter, I feel as a yogi, I don't have, if I want to breathe, if we want to breathe together, I don't have time to get caught up in the A's, the B's, the C's of,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to breathe together and move together.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
beauty of that for me, when I first embraced yoga from Kemet, was healing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the politics of it, I don't usually mix and
Right.
mingle. And I shared with others and my daughter, because she was doing this with me, that that's not why we're here. We're here to embrace yoga
Mm-hmm.
and to embrace the positive attributes that heal us and that can heal others,
Right.
so that we can be fortified with the ammunition. But just like with anything in life, you take some, you take some, you don't take some things, and embrace them as your own, which is what we're doing at
Right.
a Bofa house. Because when we moved here, all of this, the move and everything was a part of my healing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, as from dealing with the breast cancer. I needed to feel a new zest for
Yes.
life. I was feeling in a rut. I was still
Mm.
working as an educator for Broward County School Board. And, I was just getting up. I was just going through the motions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't feel fulfilled. I guess I was in a rut. So I don't know. We started occasionally going like for a vacation,
Yeah.
going to Jamaica. Even though I've traveled here from I was 14, used to
Yes.
spend my summer vacations here. And I don't know. It's like I got bit by the bug or
Mhm.
something, because it got to a point that my calendar on my desk in my classroom was highlighted with all the days that we don't have school. Never mind about faculty meetings or this, that, or the other concerning school. That's what I had highlighted. That's what made me feel, okay, 10 more days or whatever. And it got to a point that I was always in Jamaica and with my children,
Mhm.
visiting, vacationing. And I realized that I want to live. Um, and even though, they never say, you never really know a place or a person until you
Yeah.
live with them or
It's a
live
true.
there.
It's true.
So now, after living here 7 years, I have ups and downs because I've learned differently than vacationing.
Yeah.
It's a whole
Yeah.
different walk that we have had to walk. But for the most part, we are here, and it's 7 years, going on 8 years, and we have a Bofa house. We've shifted from the Library of Hope, and we do a Bofa house, which is a bed and breakfast.
Mhm.
My daughter and myself are the first Black females in Montego Bay to have something like that going on. And basically, we're just building, connecting people. We don't do a lot of posting because of where we are tucked in the bush. I always tell people to think of Jurassic Park. Oh, I just paused. I know you can edit. I saw the message said that my connection was
But you're good.
terrible, but
It's
it went
okay.
away.
Yeah.
So hope. Oh, okay, okay. So basically now we're doing a Bofa house, and we are word of mouth. We do post occasionally,
Mhm.
but we just want the word of mouth, and we've had a lot of people come as a result of that. We were on Airbnb at one time,
Mhm.
but in Jamaica, that became a controversy at one time where, sad to say, but people were getting murdered and robbed because
Wow.
of their Airbnb. Locals were targeting them, and you don't know.
Oh. Wow.
When Airbnb, when you click something to say, "Oh, I want to stay here," or a guest seeks to stay at your establishment, you really don't know. Anybody can make an Airbnb page.
Yeah.
So we kind of left off of that scene, and just building a Bofa house. And since COVID, we've just been cleaning and really reevaluating, our approach because
Mhm.
of this new normal.
Yeah.
And the borders are open. We've traveled back and forth since the borders have been open, but people are still a little leery. So my
Sure.
daughter's been collecting. She's a graphic artist and she does her videos. So she's been videoing, collecting different footage,
Mhm.
and building something for our back into the market. To
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
repost with the COVID uh, focus as far as following the policies and the
Protocol. Yep.
procedures
Yep.
and the protocols, just so that people can feel safe. But it's still beautiful. I keep looking over here because I'm looking out the window.
Are
I'm
you?
seeing
Yeah.
birds like fly by. Um, it's still beautiful here, and I remind myself as a breast cancer survivor, um, I'm in healing mode. I'm always in healing mode.
Mhm.
And I always have to be create situations for myself where I feel like I'm healing. So yes,
Right.
we shifted from some original ideals of why we came here, but it's all about yoga. It's all about holistic healing, um, and incorporating holistic eating. My daughter's a plant-based chef, so we're incorporating all of that into our package for people that maybe are wanting to transition from
Mhm.
meat to plant-based. Even though
Mhm.
I still eat some fish, I had some fish last night, which was
Mhm. Yum.
delicious.
I love my
But
seafood.
okay, so just trying to like tap into the different markets that out there, because I don't know. I'm an educator. I know nothing about marketing, And basically what I see on social media, learning something or, attending somebody's workshop to gain more insight. But it's just adjusting now to the new norm again and reformatting how I present myself as a yogi, as a breast cancer survivor, as an educator, everything that I do, you
Mm-hmm,
know.
mm-hmm.
But yoga, holistic healing is at my priority, it's the top of my
Here's
list.
a question that I have for you, because and you might have seen at least a couple. I'm collecting the chats now so that I can begin to post weekly. On a weekly basis. I just have to pick a day so it's a bit more consistent and putting them on
Right.
YouTube. Um, and so, I've had a number of yogis of color, and I also focus on having allies as well. And I guess the question I have is your initial, I'm guessing it was your initial entree into yoga was yoga from Kemet. And
Yes.
there is that other, what people call traditional yoga, but with its varying, it could be kundalini, it could be hatha, it could be, any one of those. All right. For those, I have to include myself in that. For those of us who entered yoga through that system versus the Kemetic system, I get the sense that there is a real different sense of, I don't know, comfort,
Excuse me.
acceptance. I can't quite put my finger on it, because I'm making an assumption that if you're in a training and in a room with people who are focused at yoga that is people of color based,
Hmm.
there has to be a bit of a difference. So I'm curious what your thoughts are about what those. I don't even know. I'm not even formulating the question right because I'm thinking as I'm as I'm going.
I kind of think I'm
you
feeling the
you
sense
get
of where you're going. Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
There, to me, my perspective, always from my perspective, there is major differences. First of all, the conversations that are had in class amongst, in an all black training, sort of say, I would say that moments of humor
Mm.
would be different
Mhm.
in that genre, opposed to training where all demographics are included.
Mhm.
Um, for me, there was a lot of black reference, a lot of reference to our ancestors, a lot of reference to everything black. And prior to the
Mm.
yoga, my upbringing, I'm a Pan Africanist. My aunts, my
Mhm.
mom, my dad,
Mhm.
I was brought up that way. That was always the conversation. I thought everybody talked about stuff like that actually, until
Yeah.
I
Right.
went to started going to school and, I'm getting off topic now,
No,
but I
not
will come
really.
back around. But going to school as a younger child, I can remember getting sent to the principal's office. I was 8 years old, Sharon, and I got in trouble because I was told I was being a troublemaker
Uh oh.
because I was telling all the children what my daddy told me. He said, "There is no Santa Claus.
Uh
I'm your Santa Claus. You see, I buy you every, So when I really embraced it, because, I was a child and I would hear kids outside, you play with, you go to different environments and you hear that buzz. But we didn't do that in my household.
Yeah.
So I remember getting Miss Shantz. That was the lady, wherever she's at in the world, if she's still living.
Oh.
Miss Shantz in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was 8 years old in the third grade, and I got in trouble because of not adhering.
Mm.
Again, I didn't think I was doing anything
Mhm.
wrong, but
Mhm.
that was my lesson in knowing, you're not
Right.
supposed to do that.
Mhm.
Saying all that to say with the yoga from Kemet, um, the environment of being in an all black training, there it is a more comfort level in expressing ourselves, our blackness.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's just something that's weaved into growing up black, I would say in America. I used to hear my mom do it, when she's on the phone talking business, she goes into this type of tone. My brother and I
Sure.
would be in the background cracking up, mimicking her, and it's the same thing in the yoga, in the black training. I would say that opposed to being in a mixed training, whereas certain do's and don'ts of our protocols and how we carry ourselves as a black individual
Mm-hmm.
around non-blacks
Yeah, right.
would be a little different. I'm not sure if you have experience, I'm not sure where you grew up at, but I've had this conversation with some others, uh, BIPOC, uh,
Yes. Yes.
and there are certain similarities.
Sure.
Like when I use that example of my mom, my brother and I would say, "Oh, mommy's talking German," even though she wasn't talking German, but we
Yeah,
would
right.
use that because she would do it so well.
Well, it's the
You
code
know,
switching, as we say,
that's it,
that
right?
that people generally of European descent don't have to do that in order to survive. Uh,
And
and for us, that code switching is how we survive. It just becomes, and then people are going to go, "What the heck is code switching?" It's that what your mom did. It's
yeah,
it's the difference of me standing in front of, a couple hundred people doing uh just like an opening thingy for a conference that may be, you know, um, lots of different people. They're extremely diverse. My humor always comes out, so that's different. But my presentation is very different than if I'm in a room full of folks. Very different.
I agree with you. I agree.
So, and for me, I'm smiling because I'm smiling. You said, I don't know where you grew up. I grew up outside New York. So I grew up in New Jersey. And
Okay, so did I. East Orange, New Jersey,
see,
Philadelphia, and East Orange, New Jersey.
get out of here. I grew up in Scotch Plains and Plainfield.
I have cousins in Plainfield,
No way.
Passaic, New Jersey. Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that
It's a
something?
small world.
Small
So,
world. Yeah.
so you know what I'm talking about, that thing that, your parents would all say that when we go in the store, y'all better, you better act right, or you better remember what we talked about. We were taught that code switching
Right.
from young, not
Survival.
realizing that that's survival.
Mm.
So I think that happens a lot in a non-black training opposed to
Right.
an all-black training because of our comfort level.
Right.
Even if
Right.
we don't know each other, it still
Right.
is a level of
Right.
comfort there amongst us. I don't know what that is.
Well, it's a
I can
common,
go
it's a
some.
bond. You can see it. I can be on an airplane somewhere in an airport and you sit across from someone who looks like you and there's that instant acknowledgement. You don't even have to tip your head more than a little bit
Oh,
or
I
your
know
eyes more
that.
than a little bit or in a room, go to a conference. You got your doctorate.
Yes,
You find yourself in places where you are the one and only, or you may
a
see two or three
few.
people and
That's
you
right.
look across that room and you go, or that expanse of that convention hall, and you go and you see, and it's an immediate acknowledgement. I often would
That's
tell
right.
people with, I, I can remember once doing a trade because I've done lots of diversity work and diversity training, consulting, and inclusion. And um, I remember saying to someone, it's just a very small little acknowledgement that is there. You don't have to say much. And so this person asked, but what I'm trying to understand is that why do black people call each other sister and brother? I said because historically we may be related. And she looked at me. And she said, what do you mean? I said, for most of us, particularly those of us where those ships went to the northern hemisphere,
Yeah.
of the Americas versus the southern hemisphere
Yep.
and the Caribbean,
Yep.
we don't have a sense of our African roots. And because of the way slaves were dealt with, and because of slavery, we were sold every which way. Our
Yeah.
heritage, we don't know. So I still can remember her face and then the recognition of what I was saying. And I said, for people maybe in Brazil or Colombia or Argentina or Jamaica even,
Yes.
they know. We
Yeah.
generally are clueless.
It's true. It's sad but true. But it's just the way how the world is, how
Right.
it's this. I don't know. I don't know why things are how they are. I used to teach social studies, and I service all Black children. And I remember one of my students, we were having a discussion sort of similar to how the world is in, I don't know if I'm going off topic, the Black white controversy, and why is it so? Why is it weaved in everything? And like the young man, there was a young man that asked a question, like what hope do I have to look forward to? He's
Mm,
like, he felt as though in a discussion that his parents, his family, other grown-ups put a lot of pressure on teens to like almost be the ones to save the world from the non-Black people. And he just felt as though that was really unfair because he said, I'm looking to the grown-ups, this sort of guide tell, I don't know what to do. That really sit with me heavy because neither did my mom. Neither
right.
did my
That's
grandmother.
right. That's
Neither
right.
did it's a situation that has unfortunately been other races have encountered. I like to call it a Holocaust, but our Holocaust is still going on. And right now, Sharon, I'm just damn tired. I'm tired, Sharon.
There, I know. How about that?
And I used to hear my grandmother with stories and of her time. She was born 1918 down south in Edenton, North Carolina. There still was a thing of the white colored fountains and the black colored drinking fountains and the separation, Jim Crow, and all of that. So I grew up hearing all of that and, always have hope
Yeah.
that things would eventually be different. But even on the yoga scene, unfortunately, even with
Right.
one of your posts the other day, or maybe it was last week, it's I don't know. It's just the way things are, and until we talk about it,
Right.
reflect about it, talk about it again, to sort of come to a grounding, not with non-blacks, but amongst ourselves. That's where
Yeah.
I'm at as a
I hear you.
Pan-Africanist.
I hear
I
you.
just feel as though that whole situation is a no-win situation.
Hmm.
And I know non-black individuals, but as far as the reality checks and not to fry every non-black person in the same grease, but it's more of a pandemic holocaust that has been going on before I was even born. And I soon turned 60 years old,
Hmm.
and it's just like, to try. That's why I embrace yoga as an outlet for me to just like,
Yes.
me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
But then there have been times, I'll be honest, that I've gone to non-black yoga classes here on the island of Jamaica and basically with my daughter feel as though I think I'm ready to go
Mm.
because we didn't really feel welcomed.
Mm.
It was a thing that how we were dealt with.
Mm.
It wasn't an outright rudeness.
Mm.
it was subtle, but it was there.
Right.
And to have paid to go, so I don't know why that's like that. And you would figure, say, come on, we're yogis. All those things should be left wherever at
Right.
the door, because on the yoga mat, it's just about the breath.
Exactly.
Personally, I don't see any color. I don't see female or male.
Right.
I just feel energy,
Right. Right.
and I'm really at a point now. I'm really just trying to embrace that as an everyday thing. Like when I come into a store, I'm like floating.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I
Yes. Yes.
want
Yes.
to be, I'm trying to embrace that for 2021 and leave all of that other
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff to
Yeah.
those who still want to tap dance with it.
Yes.
I
Yes.
want to create another image. Again, like I was saying earlier, come from a long line of cussers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to not cuss anymore as a part of my everyday
Well, I think
talk.
what you're talking about
I
is
cuss when it's
yes,
happy.
but I think what you're talking about is that at some point for every yogi, regardless of what your discipline is within yoga, re- so I don't know if that's the correct word, but whatever kind of yoga you be doing,
Yeah.
um, you begin to
Whatever
grow.
style. Yeah.
You begin to grow, and that it becomes way more than a posture. And it should
I
become
agree.
way more than a posture. Or can you do this or can you do that? Or does that look perfect or does it not? For me, and I've said this before, for me, yoga started as I came to yoga through meditation. I mean, I didn't know I was doing yoga
Oh,
because I was meditating. I had been meditating for about 12, 13, I don't know, long time, years before I even, I'd walk by someplace and they go, oh, they're doing yoga. That's interesting. I might consider that at some point in time, kind of like in passing. But I had no clue that meditation was a part of that. And all along, I can look at sort of a string of connected string that I will say a higher power, spirit, God, however, whatever you want to call it, would make these
yeah.
connections for me about from here to here to here to here. Why was I interested in reading, let's just say, Carlos Castaneda's? Why was I interested in reading him? I found that stuff fascinating about being able to get outside your body using, spirit guides. And I'm fascinated by that stuff. Why would I? Runes. I'm not Nordic, and there ain't a drop of Nordic blood in me. But why would I start
Okay.
paying attention to
Yeah.
runes and why? Probably all started with a great great grandmother who probably in this day and age or before her day and age would probably call her a witch. I say I come from a long line of witches. And
Okay. So do I then.
she taught me
Wow.
so much. I still can feel her hand. I still can, walk through a forest and she would go, Sharon, we take that bark and that bark we're going to make a tea. And this tea is going to do this. And we walk further. You see that fern over
Love it.
there? This was in New Jersey and in Scotland, but you know, why would I in that long line of connections connect to doing Reiki? But as far as I'm concerned, it's all yoga. That's one of the things I always say. It's
Yeah.
it's a what
Some
are those
people's
connections?
spirit are called to do those
Mm,
things more so than other, because all type of people, all walks of life. Not
right.
everybody's into yoga.
That's
Not
right.
everybody's into meditation. I feel that certain spirits walk with
That's
them
true.
and
Yes.
like whisper certain things to lead you to read those things, lead you to
Yes.
want to do Reiki, because that's the healer mode of your
Right.
ancestors.
Right.
Maybe they didn't call it Reiki then,
Nope.
but laying of the hands, like you
That's right.
said,
That's right.
the gesture, and it's in your spirit. And some people resist it, but give thanks that you're embracing it, because
Exactly.
it's empowering you to evolve to
Absolutely.
Sharon.
That would be. That would be me. I guess I'm saying that because I think, well, as we know, as we age, things start to shift in more ways than one. Things start,
Yeah.
things start to shift, and your focus is very different. And those things that were said to me so long ago, they sort of ring clear. You'll understand when you get older. Just a little small little things that would be
Yes.
said about what is important and what isn't. And so I'm just a believer that there are people from all races, all ethnicities, all religions, that there are ways to connect. If we allow ourselves to get past our
Yes.
fear and our anger. And
Yes.
once we can get past that, then maybe inch by inch, some people maybe it can go mile by mile, but even
Right.
by inch, we can start to do what this journey is, yoga, spirituality, whatever, what this journey is, that becomes much more palatable, much more positive, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I appreciate. I don't want to keep you because I'm looking at the time, and I don't know. I don't want to use your time. I don't even know if you had breakfast.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm enjoying it. It's really good. It's good that we can have these kind of talks. Especially, and I hope I didn't take it off topic
this
with
is
regards
like,
to,
remember I said it's all yoga, and we
yes, it
can't
is.
separate. We cannot separate ourselves out, people. That's why this is why I'm doing this. I'm a yogi, you a yogi. We have trained differently in the yoga that we are a bit more proficient in. I'll just put it that way.
Right.
Um, However, the fact that we can make this kind of connection and grow and have that kind of understanding is what it's all about. I can't separate that out from me being
That's
this black
right.
woman with this half ombre hair that's opposite of what ombre is.
I love it.
I can't separate me
I
from
love
being,
it.
from New Jersey, whatever. It's all of who we are. And so it's not just me, the fact that I'm trying to perfect the handstand because I'm freaking determined to do it. It's way more. I'm
Definitely.
all of these pieces, just like you are all of those pieces. So no, we did not get off topic. And, so I think
Okay.
we have way more to talk about because we're going to have to do another one.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
willing.
Yes.
I'm willing. This is
Yes.
good.
Yeah. I think it's really
Really
great.
good.
And I think what you shared about was very educational, and I don't mean it in a didactic sense. For
Okay.
people, it's very, very helpful, and I so appreciate your willingness to join me all the way from Jamaica. And I know it's warmer. You have no idea. I had on a hoodie. I'm inside, right? I,
Uh,
I had this I had this on
it's been a
because
long time I don't wear a hoodie.
it's colder inside here than it is outside. It's very bizarre.
Wow.
The buildings are made that way here because you're in southern Spain, and buildings are not heated because you so-called don't need it. But the long time that we lived in Florida, that blood still is in me, and I get chilly.
Okay.
So I said I can't.
But I want to ask you a quick
Sure.
question. What made you move to Spain of all
Oh,
places?
oh, oh, that's a good question.
This is your
Um,
10-second elevator spill.
okay. We traveled here before, and not specifically to where we live, but we have traveled to different parts of Spain. Barcelona, we had been to Malaga, and a few other places because we're cruise people. People should know those transatlantic cruises are very cheap, so get on those. Yeah, if they're ever able to go again
Okay,
with
there's
COVID.
COVID.
So, yes. So we traveled here before. We always said that we wanted to be able to go places cheaply that we have never been before,
Mhm.
or that we had only been able to spend a little bit of time. And I had a close friend, she's British, um, whose sister actually lived in this particular little town. And she came to visit. We saw pictures, And we had sold our house in Florida, had been living in a condo for 4 years. And, people kept saying, oh, you're going to buy again, you're going to buy again, you're going to buy again. And Fred would always say, we need to liquidate and move. And so when we saw the pictures, it was sight unseen. We have never been to this place before ever. This little town
Wow.
near her, sight unseen. And we said, you know what? We're just going to do it. And of course, in the middle of all that decision making and actually towards the end of having flights and all that, Fred was diagnosed with cancer. And we came anyway.
Okay.
He had
All
had his
right. My
treatments.
Fred, I've been watching the post. That's my main man, Fred. Okay, big up for Fred. Just that we shared that whole cancer
Yes.
experience. That's my brother, Sharon. Do
Yeah,
you
I
understand?
know.
That's
I
my
do.
brother. And
I
you
do.
give him an extra hug
I will.
because we're gonna do this damn thing called life.
That's
We're
the,
gonna do
and that was, I think,
it.
and it became even clearer then. It's like, what could, what? You don't like it, you come back.
That's
You don't
right.
like it, or you go someplace else. Who knows? We might end up in Portugal. I don't know. It's like, you
Love
know,
it. I love it.
um, and we love Jamaica. You know, it's so it's just been interesting to sort of make this transition at this time in your life when, he's fully retired. I'm still teaching. So, um, we used to do a little bit more consulting, but nonetheless, that's how we ended up here. And our Spanish is getting a little bit better.
Oh, I love it. I feel really excited for you guys there.
Yeah,
And I love the posts. Sometimes I'm not on social media. I just give my brain a break because it just seems like, oh, then now there's
sure.
stories and then now they got reels in. But I do see your posts and they're always informative. And I now that's a place that's on my list that I want to visit.
Well, you come.
So
We have room. You come, and the food is good. It's quite an interesting experience. I think probably I'll do like maybe a talk about why we're here, and put it up here actually as
it's really
people of color.
interesting.
Yeah. And how we ended up here and what the experience is like, because it's not like being in the States. And quite honestly, we feel safer here than we feel in the States. I mean, that's the reality.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
That's, yeah,
for a
I
lot of
agree.
reasons. But so anyway,
Hmm.
thank you so much. We will do it again. I
Thank
am
you. Thank
I
you.
am
Thank you.
so
Yes.
so so grateful for you. And maybe next time we'll have to have you and your daughter oh, that would be fun. With you and your
She
daughter.
would love.
That
I love that.
Yes, let's do that. Tell her I said, oh
I
yeah.
will.
It'll be like the round,
I'm gonna
what do
let
they
her
call
know.
the red table talks? It'll just be different.
Okay. All right. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for having me as
You're
well. I
welcome.
enjoyed it. The conversation, Jamaica, Spain.
Yeah.
Hey, we're
Hey,
just living life and making the most of it.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love you. You take care.
I love you too. Peace and love and abundance of hugs. Don't forget to give Fred a hug for
I
me.
won't forget. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.